For years, product teams, maybe even yours, have been completely obsessed with perfection. We've been heads down, making our apps faster, our interfaces slicker, and our user flows totally seamless, polishing every single pixel.
But here's the scary thought. What if in all that polishing, we've just been making it easier for people to get to something that's, well, just okay? What if we've built this beautiful 8-lane highway that just leads to a kind of disappointing theme park? It's a tough question, and it really gets to the core of what we're talking about today.
So to really get our heads around this, we're going to use a super simple metaphor, because the difference between a pretty good product and an amazing one often comes down to this: the difference between a perfect, easy peel and a truly delicious orange. And this brings us right to the orange principle. It's just a really powerful, simple way to understand the huge and often very confused difference between user experience, UX, and customer experience, or CX.
Okay, so here it is, the big distinction. Think of UX, the user experience, as just the peel. It's all about the interaction itself. Is the app easy to navigate? How many taps does it take? Is it a smooth process? But CX, the customer experience, that's the entire orange. It's the whole shebang. Was it fresh? How did it taste? And the million-dollar question, will you buy it again?
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. You can spend months, maybe even years, designing an orange that is incredibly easy to peel, a perfect UX. But if the fruit inside is sour and awful, well, you've delivered a terrible CX. And guess what? No one is coming back for another one, no matter how easy it was to get into.
And that's because the true customer experience, the part that really sticks with people, doesn't just happen on a screen. The most critical make-or-break moments, they often happen out in the real world, long after someone has closed your app. Let's look at an amazing example of this. Airbnb had this massive breakthrough when they realized their product wasn't their website. It wasn't their app. The app was just the ticket to get to the show. The real product, the actual experience, was the trip itself.
So check this out. They actually storyboarded the entire customer journey, focusing on the emotional roller coaster. The booking process? That's pure excitement. That's a great UX moment on the app. But then, real life kicks in. You can't find the house, your anxiety spikes, the lockbox code doesn't work, now you're in full-on panic mode. These off-screen moments are what define the customer experience.
Here's another perfect example, something we've all probably been through. The coffee shop app. The front stage, what you see, it's flawless. You open the app, you order, you pay, you get that satisfying little "your order is ready" notification. Beautiful UX. But backstage, it's a total mess. The barista misreads the sticker, they're out of oat milk, and your latte's been sitting there getting cold for 10 minutes.
And this is the trap so many of us fall into. The team is looking at the data, celebrating a perfectly smooth in-app funnel, while the actual real-world system is completely letting the customer down. The app worked perfectly, the experience failed. The peel was perfect, the orange was rotten.
So you might be thinking, okay, but I can't control every single thing that happens in the real world. And you're right. But you know what you can do? You can engineer trust. You can use your interface, the peel, to help guide your users toward a better orange. Let's go back to Airbnb. They introduced the Guest Favorites badge. Now, that little UI element isn't just for show. It uses data to signal reliability and quality, tackling that huge CX problem of booking anxiety. Or look at how they show the total price up front. Yeah, it probably hurt short-term conversion a bit, but it built massive long-term trust. They used the interface to make a promise they could actually keep.
All right, enough theory. Let's get into some real actionable stuff. Think of this as a rapid-fire toolkit for how you can start designing for the whole orange, not just that shiny peel.
First up, error messages. You have to remember this. People remember your failures way more vividly than your successes. A vague, lazy message like "something went wrong" is infuriating. It breaks trust. A good error message tells me what happened and gives me something I can actually do about it. It respects me. Next up is the cancellation test. And this is so smart. Companies like Netflix make it almost ridiculously easy to cancel your subscription. Why? Because they know a positive, no-hassle leaving experience removes the fear of coming back. In fact, something like 40% of their cancelers eventually return. And part of that is because leaving didn't feel like a bad breakup. And of course, there are a few other must-haves. Your shopping cart has to sync between your phone and your laptop. That's just table stakes now. Your app needs to feel fast, even when it's not, using things like skeleton screens. Accessibility can't be an afterthought. It's fundamental. And when you use AI, use it to compress time on boring tasks, not to automate empathy. Let humans handle the human stuff.
So as we start to wrap this up, it really all comes down to one final test. Before you launch that next feature, before you ship that new product, you have to ask your team one simple question. Is the orange we've made actually worth peeling?
And here's the framework for that test. The first question is the easy one. It's the UX question. Can users do this easily? That's the peel. But it's the next three that define your success, and they are all CX. Should users do this? Is there real value here? Will they be glad they did it? Was the outcome satisfying? And finally, the most important question of all, will they do it again?
At the end of the day, it's really this simple. For way too long, we have been obsessed with perfecting the peel. But UX is just about whether they can peel the orange. CX, the real goal, the true measure of success, is whether the experience was so good they'll come back and buy another one tomorrow. That's the whole game.